Please stand as you are able and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the School Town of Speedway Board of Trustees meeting for November 9th, 2021. We are working from a 13-item agenda. The first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held October 12th, 2021.
I'll move that we approve the minutes of the October 12th, 2021 meeting.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Is there discussion on the item? Hearing and seeing none, if all those in favor of approval of the minutes from the October 12th, 2021 meeting would please signify. And that passes unanimously. Second agenda item for this evening is to set the date and time for the annual retreat work session.
Mr. President, the recommendation is to advertise a school board meeting in the central office upstairs, floor 2, at 4 p.m. on Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. Board members may join in the work session as their schedule permits that day. No business will be transacted at the work session. Discussion on long-range planning will take place. A tentative schedule for your retreat is enclosed.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the date and the time, December 14th, beginning at 4 o'clock for the Board of Trustees and School Administrators Retreat meeting.
Thank you.
A second.
Thank you. Is there discussion on this item? Hearing and seeing none, if all those board members in favor would signify. And that passes unanimously. The third item on the agenda is to approve the schedule for the 2022 school board meetings.
Mr. President, the recommendation is to approve the 2022 scheduled school board meetings as presented. Dates and times mirrors current and past practice, except two exceptions. First of all, we'll be adding an executive meeting for the April meeting to be announced on the time before or after. And then the October 4th meeting would be the first Tuesday of the month due to scheduling conflicts to fall break.
Thank you.
Mr. President, I move that we adopt the schedule of the 2022 school board meetings as presented.
Thank you very much.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there discussion on the schedule for the 22 school board meetings? Hearing and seeing none, if all those in favor would signify. It's accepted unanimously. The fourth item on the agenda this evening is to present the school improvement plans.
Mr. President, it's a great pleasure to see that all of our administrators are here tonight, so thank you for coming. We will begin with the elementary schools with Mr. Schnaus will start us off.
Good evening, everyone. We're here to present a summary of the school improvement plans for the 4 elementary schools. As each of you know, last year was unlike any we've seen before. Our main focus within our schools had to shift from that on instruction to that of safety protocols and all that came with it. From e-learning to quarantines to seating charts and everything in between. Unfortunately, our iLearn results were greatly impacted by those needed and necessary adjustments. I feel fortunate that we were able to stay with in-person instruction as much as we did, because the drop may have been even more severe, as that was the case for many districts across the state. This past spring, once we digested those results, the administrative team and the instructional coaches met to analyze the data. It quickly became evident that writing instruction was an area of need for our students. This included written responses involving text evidence, as well as justifying answers within math. As a result, we created a professional development plan with a focus on writing instruction. We have partnered with Smeckens Education with a goal to strengthen our writers' workshop block and develop a year-long instructional curriculum. These skills and strategies being developed within our writers' workshop are then being integrated into our reading and writing instruction. Our English learners population continues to grow, and oftentimes writing is the last skill they obtain towards their goal of proficiency. With that in mind, it only further solidified the need for our schools to put writing instruction at the forefront for our school year. Another area the 4 elementary schools are focusing on this year is the purposeful planning, mapping, and pacing of our curriculum. Our instructional coaches have and continue to play a vital role in this implementation and development. They sought feedback from our classroom teachers towards the end of last school year in all content areas, but particularly reading, as we just finished up the first year of our new reading series, Wonders. They worked diligently this summer with that feedback to revamp our curriculum map and provide guidance for our teachers in which standards should be set as a priority in their daily instruction. Teacher feedback was also resulted in modifications to our pacing of the curriculum, leading to fidelity of the standards being taught. Each of our 4 elementary school buildings also have some unique needs, and those needs are being addressed at those individual buildings. That is a quick snapshot of our school improvement plans for the 4 elementary schools.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board concerning the elementary plans? I happen to have one. I don't understand, or I don't know, not familiar with reading 1, reading 2. I noticed that used in some of the school plans, but it starts at like 3rd grade level. Is there no differentiation in the earlier grades, and what's the differentiation mean for me?
Are you talking about goals, reading goal number 1?
Yeah, yes, but I know perhaps you can say it's just that, there's a difference there.
Under Allison, it has reading.
It could be that it's different assessments, is it, Mr. Bedwell? The reading 1 is one assessment, which is
There's sponsors
on the-
now, there's DIPPLs.
okay.
So there's
So you've come up with 2 different standards for 2 different assessment methods. Okay, thank you. It didn't hit me until I read it a 3rd time.
sorry.
Thank you. No,
Yeah.
that's my fault.
I have a question, just in terms of, when I reviewed these, I would not have come away with the understanding that, about the writing piece. And so I don't see that in this, I look at these and see, okay, we're gonna do math, and so where is that covered in these?
So most of our goals are focused around English language arts and math,
Okay.
thinking about iLearn. knowing that writing goes into both of those content areas.
Okay.
The summary doesn't give that true snapshot of it, but our full plan hits on the writing component.
Okay, that makes total sense, so.
Are there other questions or comments concerning the elementary level plans?
Is it, again, it's hard sometimes to kind of get the overall view from the different summaries and the fact that they are summaries, which is great. But do the elementaries have like this is where we landed with iLearn, and this is, and like an actual benchmark of we're going to get to here we want? It is our desire? Is that true?
Yeah, each and every year it looks a little different for the fact that the assessment has changed frequently, and so in previous years, our school improvement plans would specify a certain percentage, but then we'd often see that as a result of the assessment changing, that target was not easily attainable in that manner.
Any other things concerning the elementary plans from the board?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next up, Mr. Risbrook.
I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I'm battling a little bit of a cold and then put the mask on, so I might be just a bit raspy, but we'll make it through. The junior high school improvement summary, it's kind of a one-sheet summary there, a little bit different than the elementary. We'll go through, and I start off with kind of a description of the our population. What I've done there with the parentheses behind each of those is kind of show what it was, to give you an idea of if it grew or went down from the previous year. So on all the breakdowns there, you see what nothing real drastic. We stay pretty stable throughout. Of course, our English language as a second language has gone up a little bit. We were fortunate enough for you to approve an aid that has helped tremendously in that area, and we appreciate that. And I know Mrs. Mashaki really appreciates that. Our English language art, our English second EL teacher really appreciates it. The next area is a summary of data, and when you first look at that, and again, Lance kind of hit that a little bit with COVID and with everything we went through, those numbers are not Speedway numbers that we're used to seeing. But when you break them down and compare those to some of the corporations around us, and I've done that in throughout Marion County, there's 19 junior high / middle schools. And just to give you an idea of how we did compared to those schools, in Marion County, we were first in all three, passing English, math, and both. In language arts, we were ahead of second place by a full point. In math, we were ahead of the second place school in Marion County by almost 19 percentage points, 18.8. And in passing both, the next closest to us in Marion County out of the 19 schools was 11 percentage points behind us. So I think when you look at those, compare them to what these numbers look like, we know those are going to go up. We know that, but still we were performing higher than any other junior high in Marion County. So at first glance, they don't look so hot. And then when you start looking around, you see that they weren't as bad as what we thought. So we're going to work on those. And that takes us to our next area, which is our goals. And they haven't changed a lot over the years. We're still focusing in goal 1 that all students will show growth in math comprehension. And we still have similar strategies with the ALEX program, our Cambium formative assessment, to trying to track and see where our students are. And then once we do, we are still breaking them down into, especially in the 7th grade math, after the second 9 weeks, we separate them out and get them into an accelerated math, which is a little lower math, and then pre-algebra. And right now, it's almost split even. We will make some adjustments after our math teacher takes a look at some things, but right now we have 78 in accelerate math and 79 going into pre-algebra, which is almost right in the middle, which I haven't seen that. But that'll happen after the second 9 weeks. We kind of separate those out in the 7th grade. And in the 8th grade, we do offer algebra as a high school credit class. And out of the 146 8th graders right now, we do have 59 in the algebra program. So we have 2 full sections of algebra. So we're still trying to stretch those upper level students and give them opportunity to pick up a credit in algebra. Our second goal then is focus more on the reading comprehension. Again, we have the accelerated reader program. And then we have the Cambium assessment that we look and track growth. And then with the reading, we also we take a look at getting them into the honors classes as well. In 7th grade, we have 165 students, and we have 2 sections. 55 of those students are in honors, just to give you an idea. And that's a higher paced, obviously, language arts class. In 8th grade, we have 59 students in our 2 honors sections. We also take a look, and we do have data meetings as part of our school improvement plan to take a look at those students that need a little extra help that we get to know a few weeks into the year. And in those data meetings, we have found that some of the students need an extra help in reading, and we're fortunate enough to have a reading specialist that has a basic skills and a language arts lab class. And we identify those students, and we started with about 30 to 32 students in those classes, and then after our meetings, we were up to 52 kids that we targeted. Some of them were new move-ins to try to get them some extra reading help. So that's kind of picking up the ones at the lower end and then our honors are stretching the ones at the top. So that's part of our goal 2. Goal 3, that one was really interesting with COVID, attendance rate. So they've kind of changed some things, and you'll see the word model attendee and chronic absenteeism, and I had to look those definitions up to exactly what the numbers were, but instead of just giving you overall what was your attendance rate, they give you percentages of those that are model attendees, which are the ones who are at least 96% of the days they attend, or they've improved by 3% from the year before. You're then a model attendee, which we were at 84.6%, and the state was 71%, so that was okay. The chronic absenteeism is any student who misses 10% of the school year for any reason. We only had 4%, and the state average was 11%. So, of course, with COVID hopefully going away, then we'll be able to keep better track of the attendance as far as percentages, and also where they'll be allowed to do our incentive. We have that incentive party for attendance, perfect attendance, and those type of things. We do have one other goal that I just wanted to add in that we talk about a lot in the junior high, and that is, it's not really on here. It's a goal of getting involved in something besides just going to class every day, and which is important, obviously. And I have some real quick numbers for you. I think they jumped out at me. And right now we have 7 clubs going on, and we really just have one sport, boys basketball with the cheerleaders. And just to give you an idea, I talked to each of the sponsors. Out of our 311 students right now, we have 266 of them involved in some extracurricular activity, whether it's the basketball team, cheerleading, or the 7 clubs that we have going on right now. So that's 86% of our students. You see walking down the hall, they are involved in something else, which I think is really important for being successful. So that's just a little snapshot of what we're doing there at junior high.
Thank you. Are there questions or comments from the board about the junior high plan for school improvement?
Good. All right.
I think
Thanks,
we're
Rick.
good. Thank you very much.
Mr. Claiborne.
Good evening. So I'm going to be going through our one-page summary of the high school improvement plan. Similar to what the other schools have said, we've seen an increase in our EL population as well as our overall population. We're up about 30 students from last year, and a disproportionately high number of those are EL with varying degrees of English language proficiency. The majority of them will test, I would expect, very low on the WIDA examination. at least to start off with. We hope to fix that right away. Our free reduced lunch population on there is shown at 44%. I believe that's artificially deflated due to COVID. Everybody gets free breakfast and lunch, and so fewer students would then apply for that, because I believe that has also increased over the past year. Our ISTEP and advanced placement summary, we discussed a couple meetings ago right here. I believe the results were still very strong. Our ISTEP scores were down slightly from 2019, the last year that we had full in-person learning for an entire year. However, we were still number one in Marion County. No school that was forced to shut down the month before testing scored better than us. So as a summary from the subgroups, we were first in English language learners, second in special ed, third in black students, and eighth in white students, and that's in the state. Marion County, we were number one in all of those subgroups, except white students, we were second in that subgroup. Advanced placement, again, just a quick summary since we talked about that a couple months ago. You see we continue to expand that program, that offering, cast a wider and wider net and try to include as many students as possible to allow them to challenge themselves early, and then give all students a push and an opportunity to learn at the highest level, the highest rigor, ideally test out of those preliminary classes that they would have to take as freshmen in college. And so we expect those percentages to continue to go up, and all of those are addressed in our goals. Our graduation rate obviously is a benchmark that we don't want to see change at all. We have been up at 99% each year. We've graduated all students who are eligible for a diploma, and we want to make sure that that continues. With so many students coming into us, coming into our school this year, not having been in-person learning all of last year, we have quite a few students that are extremely credit deficient. So continuing to meet that goal will be additionally challenging in the coming years when you have a student come in that's a full year behind or even more. Everybody has work cut out for them, but I believe we're up to the task. Goal two states that we'll continue to improve our cohort passage rate of advanced placement exams, continue to increase the percentage of graduates who graduate having passed at least one AP exam. We were at 59% last year, and again, going up from 25% in 2017. We like to see that get up to 65%. Ideally, 2/3 of our graduates, I think is a lofty but achievable mark for this year. Goal 3 is a little bit more tricky. We're switching from ISTEP to the SAT as our graduation exam. And so the percentages here are very close to our percentages back from 2019 on our ISTEP. The last year we were full in-person learning, that 85% passing English, 70% passing math. Difficulties there, as I've already explained, students that have been out of school for over a year. Also, to add another wrinkle in there, the benchmarks for passing have not even been set yet. They're going to see how everybody scores and then kind of decide where those cut marks are. So we do have their college readiness benchmarks, and we're using those right now. But the official ones for graduation, for that graduation pathway, has not yet been determined. A goal similar to what Rick said that we have is that we continue to get more and more students involved. This fall season has been fantastic. I know I spoke about this a couple months ago with the band's accomplishments, but we had both soccer teams win conference. Football team just wrapped up, lost a heartbreaker in the sectional championship after winning 9 games this year, a huge improvement. And again, I think all of those are just part of that rising tide that we have going at the high school right now, that's lifting all boats up.
I have a high school specific question, and then I kind of have a overall school corporation question. High school specific question, I think you sort of answered this. So SAT traditionally, right, hasn't had a cut score. I mean, it's your range and what school you want to, it's in that, but, so they're going to establish this is a benchmark cut score with the SAT, is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. They've had a college readiness benchmark that they've used in the past, that's kind of a guideline. But this is one of the pathways to graduation, so the DOE will determine what that cut score is going to be to use the SAT as a pathway.
We once upon a time talked about a 0-hour test prep class. Has that idea been revisited at all, or is that something that even makes sense anymore? It seems to me like that's not just college prep now, that's actually passing this test.
Sure. So we have what's called plug time built into our schedule now, 25 minutes, 4 days a week. 2 days a week, 9th through 11th graders are all receiving SAT test prep, English one day, math the other. The juniors who are at the testing grade get live instruction from English and math teachers. And then the freshmen and sophomores get prepared asynchronous lessons. It is both matching the sequence and scope of what they're doing in their curriculum already, but has that SAT flavor so that the terminology and the types of questions that they'll see on that test, they'll be very familiar with.
That's great, thanks. Does anybody else have high school specific questions?
I do not. Others?
I have an overall question, and that is, I think, it seems to me that there's a bit of a general, maybe public perception, not just for us, but I think in general, that elementary kids were affected, maybe so you hear, the last time that a third grader had a regular school year, they were in kindergarten, so they missed and that seems to, I think people generally think that affected the younger kids more harshly because they know so little, right? So they lose the beginning of the learning stuff. And is that an accurate perception as it seems in our school where our high school kids it seems like they handled being out of school a little better, or the remote aspect or the online piece maybe than the younger kids did. So A, is that accurate in the first place? And then B, if that is accurate, well, I guess I don't even need to ask A, B, if A is not true. So is that accurate, do we think?
I can speak from the high school side. I think the deficiencies and the gaps and the loss that was there shows up differently from the different ages and in different students, from the social side to the academic side. I know on the state scale, we tested juniors with the I-STEP because they did not get to do that as a sophomore, and statewide it was down slightly for juniors. And the analysis I read maybe in the Star said, well, there wasn't that much loss. Well, no, there was a whole year of learning that should have taken place, and these juniors tested worse than sophomores usually did. Mm-hmm. And that was even more pronounced with special ed, EL, all of our disadvantaged populations. And I think what we haven't seen fully yet is that socially, with mental health and those aspects, our high school students were extremely hampered by the lockdown. And again, thanks to all of you for keeping us in person last year as much as we possibly could. Being with our fantastic teachers is the best thing for our kids every day. So, Lance, did you want to talk about the elementary side?
I would just reiterate the independence that is needed at times, particularly when we were e-learning. At an upper grade level is more obtainable with that independence, where kindergartners doing e-learning at home. Again, that was just 1 month for us in the school year, but definitely in that manner. So, anybody else?
I would say for our younger kids, the primary kindergarten now and first grade, how they are socially at school to some degree. So we see more teachers in kindergarten than we have previously. But they have adjusted and things have settled down quite a bit since the beginning of the school year. So they're making up for it.
So then my part B question then is kind of adapted based on that. So I guess it then applies across the board. And this isn't, I mean, I assume that the answer to this is really long and so it would suffice like, yeah, we know, and duh, we've considered it, right? I mean, seriously, but I would feel remiss if I didn't say this out loud. And that, I mean, so it seems to me that, like if my second grader learns money at the end of second grade or first grade, whenever they learn money, was that first grade? Into first grade they learn money? I don't know, I can't remember. And they didn't learn it. So then to learn money, they would have to learn it in a later year. Well, but that year is full. So how is that being handled? The loss of information that has to be layered onto an existing full year of curriculum?
It's tricky, and we found that really hit in third, fourth grade fractions. That was where we noticed a big gap for kids. And so the teachers have just had to do some front loading with review. Typically where they may have reviewed in the past, we're actually teaching some skills. And so they have just really worked hard to do that. They make good use of every single moment. So you do your whole group, then you have your small groups, and you have independent work. All of those areas where kids are working are jam-packed with standards-focused things.
I don't imagine we have too much fluff.
There's not
So that's what it keeps running around in my head, how like you can't get rid of like, oh, this year we're just not going to do the fun, fluffy stuff. We're just, because we got to back up with because we probably don't do too much of that anyhow. Yeah.
But also you have to remember the year prior to that, there were 45 days of a complete shutdown.
Yeah, I mean, that's that piece of whatever that end of grade was, you lost all of that.
And our fourth
And then-
graders last year were the first year that they had taken a standardized test because they missed it as third graders.
Yeah. Well, all that to say that it just seems like insurmountable hurdles. And I think that we recognize that. And we're just so pleased and impressed to get the kind of information that you guys consistently bring us. And that we, while it's impressive to be able to hear, yes, these numbers aren't where we're used to, but they're still, it's not about being better than others, except that does show that we're doing things right. And so I just think it doesn't take long for my mind to be overwhelmed with it. And, that's what you're faced with every day. And so, thank you.
I think it's, to conclude this, number one, thank you all for coming right now. The work that you guys do is unbelievable. There's a reason we go 183 days. Even though I heard that there's some snow in the forecast here on Sunday by Mr. Disney. So but we go longer. The school day for the elementary goes longer. And then the critical side, if I could go anywhere and talk to anybody else in the state, would be this. I challenge somebody to come into our buildings on a Friday afternoon in our high school and walk the hallways and see what happens. There's no one there. They're still in class. They're still engaged. And our teachers in the elementaries and the high school and the junior high, it doesn't matter where you're at on a Friday, we're teaching and learning Monday through Friday with, in my opinion, some of the best teachers around. So that doesn't happen without great leadership. And I thank you, everyone that's out there. And Dr. Wolf on the far side, you're an outlier. I see. Judd. Okay, I see you out there. Andrea, thank you for coming. Do you have anything to say?
Just as overwhelmed as we can feel and the kids feel, our teachers feel that too. And so part of the great work that you do as a school board and that I see your administrators doing is supporting teachers and trying to keep them afloat too, because they're feeling that pressure of trying to fill fill all of the gaps as well. And so keeping them healthy mentally and emotionally and also physically has been a big focus as well.
Dr. Trebler, one of the things I will add is that I had to do these school improvement plans many times, and what you're seeing in these one-page things doesn't give justice to all the stuff that they're doing in the plans. If you read them, would be much more detailed, but they're extensive to put these things together and decide what you think where your goals are and what you want to do. And like I said, this really doesn't do justice to all the work that's being done in the buildings, but I understand what you guys had to do to put those plans together, and we greatly appreciate that. There's more to school than test scores, and we understand that. And then, like was mentioned, with kids being involved in things and what we're doing, try to improve people, it's what makes us different. So thank you.
We thank you all for being present, for sharing with us the plans, and for your work in educating our students. Feel free to stick around if you would like, or to leave if that's your preference.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
The fifth item on the agenda this evening is to approve the 2021 evaluation of the superintendent by the school board.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the 2021 evaluation of the superintendent.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on the evaluation? Hearing and seeing none, if all those in favor of the evaluation as presented would signify. Okay.
This isn't discussion on the evaluation, but all of that out there, rises right up to right here. And so, thank you very much, Dr. Trubley, and Mr. Disney,
And
for
Disney.
everything that's happening and that you guys are overseeing.
Yep.
It's awfully nice not to have to worry about that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good people make you look good.
People.
Yeah.
Enjoy being here.
Thank you.
The sixth agenda item this evening is to reaffirm the school board member code of ethics statements for the membership.
Mr. President, I'd like to read the four headings of these, and then we can vote after that to reaffirm reaffirm the board's statements of ethics. The first one is a school board member should honor the high responsibility that the membership demands. As in the first bullet point, always think in terms of children's first. The second heading, a school board member should demonstrate respectful relationships with other members of the board. The third heading, a school board member should maintain desirable relations with the superintendent of schools and other employees. And the fourth heading is a school board member should maintain a commitment to the community. These are the four headings with other bullet points underneath, but these are the member code of ethics.
Yes,
I'll move that we reaffirm the statement of the Board of Ethics.
thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there discussion on the statement of board ethics? Hearing and seeing none. If all those in favor of reaffirming our acceptance and agreement to, please signify. And that passes unanimously. Thank you all. The seventh agenda item this evening is to approve a memorandum of understanding and an agreement for tax refund exchange and compliance.
Mr. President, this is a little wordy, so I'll go through it and explain any points that if you have questions for. But this is a new thing for Speedway. This has been around for a couple of years, but this is a MOU or an agreement with the Association of Indiana Counties, or called TREX program, that allows any local municipality to submit unpaid debts through the AIC Clearinghouse, the Indiana Department of Revenue, to match the debtor's name and social security number against those taxpayers due a personal income tax refund. In other words, let me stop there for a second. If somebody owes us money, after we give multiple notification for that, we can put the person's name into the Indiana Department of Revenue, and then 30 days later, they'll be notified from them that they will be notified that they do owe money. They'll have 15 days to contact us to pay off their debt. If not, then it would be, the money would be removed from their federal tax check in the next year, I guess. So once they file on that. So that's what the MOU says. It's a low risk to the school. It's actually zero risk to the school corporation, as we just turn into some groundwork of getting the file and the Excel sheet together for anybody that owes money, and we will submit that to the revenue. We'll be trained to do that, and then they'll be notified to do that. If a match is found between the debtor and the debtor's personal income tax refund, like I said before, the IDOR offsets the refund for the repayment of the debt. So it'll be taken straight out of their refund check and given to the school corporation with a $20 fee to that person. They'll pay the $20. So in just this MOU is just an agreement with them. It will cost us $2 to send the notification letter, and the set fee is $25 if they owe the school corporation pay that money. So please, I know that's a lot of language there, but that's the MOU that I'm asking for the recommendation for.
And to clarify, it would be from their state tax refund, correct?
Yes.
You said federal, and I just want to verify. This is a state, this is an Indiana thing?
Indiana Department, yeah. So
And it comes from their Indiana tax refund?
yes.
Thank you. Is there a motion on accepting this memorandum?
I move that we approve the MOU for the tax refund exchange and compliance.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there a discussion or commentary concerning the memorandum?
I just note that I had a question about this, and as expected, the way Speedway handles things, we are not turning these names over on the first sign of them not paying the bill. This is after many, many attempts to try to get the individual to pay.
Yes, that is correct.
Anything else? If all those in favor of the memorandum being approved would signify. And that passes unanimously. The 8th agenda item is to update the school safety project and facilities progress.
During the summer, we received a school safety grant for $100,000 match, which we were extremely excited about. We're using that to update the front doors at the high school for this year. The next year, we'll be doing the junior high, I hope, as long as we can get the grant or to move forward with the grant's help. We're using Lancer and Beebe as an architect. We've been in discussion. It's a pretty simple project. We are making it to where there's line of sight so you can see people walk up the sidewalks, adding in the extra security door levels. If there's any touch-ups we can do in the office, we're going to do those at the time, but it'll be very minimal. But just to let the public know, we are moving forward with that for the safety project at the high school. And it looks like spring break, we will start the project as long as students aren't in session. I told them no jackhammering during, of course, during school hours. But the goal is to be done middle of July for the beginning of next year's school year. So that's the objective, and that's where we're at right now. It's looking pretty good as long as we can get materials from the contractors. We're trying to give them enough lead time to get that done. That's the kicker. Luckily, we do have the old central office, that we have that availability, and we did this strategically. We can move some of those people down to where there's desks already set up, so our secretaries and some of our high school staff will be moved down there so they can continue the school day in the summer. And also we have the boardroom, which we'll use for storage for any lead time materials that they can order in advance to make sure we have them. So it's kind of all working out just perfect. And then next year we'll move forward with the junior high, do the same scheme. So that's our, just to keep you up to date on where we're at with that, but we are going to move forward and go out and get some quotes here in the next month or so.
Thank you. The 9th agenda item is an update on COVID-19 status for the corporation.
One of my roles has been since March of 2019, I guess, is to determine the number of cases, positive cases of COVID we have in our school district, and it has been daunting at times. Proud to report that the last 2 weeks, we've had no cases of positive cases of COVID in our school district. Today, I'm reporting that there is one positive case of COVID in our school district, and there are 2 students that are currently quarantined after being considered a close contact. Very important to note that those 2 close contacts that are quarantined are not quarantined due to their close contact at school. Those close contacts occurred away from school. So we're doing quite well with keeping COVID out of our schools, knock on wood. Hopefully it'll stay that way.
Thank you very much. The 10th agenda item is to acknowledge the grants we've received in the last month. We received $460,176.23 in the last month, which is wonderful. Yes. The 11th agenda item is the personnel report.
Personnel report, as you have seen, is pretty lengthy for this month. We have 14 individuals that have resigned their position. Some of these people will make a big difference in our school. Dr. Brenda Wolf is submit her letter of resignation effective at the end of this school year. She's been a longtime principal of Wheeler Elementary School. Steve Ray has been a teacher and coach at our high school for many years, and he has submitted his letter of resignation effective at the end of the school year. Rita Peterchef has been our cafeteria manager at the high school for several years, and you can see in the notes the length of time, and she will be sorely missed for what she does at our high school in the cafeteria. Brian Hunneman has submitted his letter of resignation from facilities. Jamil Johnson as a custodian. Catherine Castile as a custodian. You'll see some names on here that are duplicated because they're resigning a position to accept a position elsewhere. Gage Norris is resigning his position as the junior high assistant wrestling coach. Melvin Godsey as the high school varsity assistant wrestling coach. Jacob Peterchef as the assistant swim coach at the junior high school, and Nolan Dalcrobo as the junior high assistant swim coach. Under employment, Jasmarie Espina is going to be in our cafeteria. Chris Pyle was a girls assistant coach in tennis, being recommended. He was our boys coach this past fall in tennis. Gage Norris is being recommended to be the varsity assistant wrestling coach at the high school. And Nolan Dalcrobo will be resigned his position so he could be the head swim coach at Speedway Junior High School. My recommendation is to approve the personnel report as presented.
Yes.
I'll move that we approve the personnel report as presented.
I'll second that.
Thank you both. Is there discussion or commentary on the personnel report? Hearing and seeing none, if all those in favor of accepting the personnel report as submitted would please signify. It is passed unanimously. The 12th item on the agenda is the recognition of visitors and any other business.
Mr. President, I'd like to say a few things. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Speedway School Board of Trustees. You find people to my right and left. You've recently been awarded for 2 years in a row the Exemplary Governance Award from the Indiana School Board Association. This is a kind of a high-end award due to the fact that you're the only school board to achieve this award for 2 years in a row. So congratulations to you guys, and that's a testament to how we just do things here. So thank you. Moving forward on that, our Speedway Junior High School was recently named the 25th best Indiana middle school by the U.S. News and World Report. So we'll see some banners going up for that. Also, I think if I point, they're going to have a, Brian, Bill? Yes, all right. The Spell Bowl team in the last 10 years, or not in the last 10 years, they'll be attending Purdue University because they made state this last year, so I wanted to throw that up on the screen and just to see if I pointed if it would go there, so it did. So our Spell Bowl team's going to state. They're at the Purdue University, excited about that. We have a lot of things going on, and I know I'm going to miss a few things, but also if I point again, you'll see our school, the school play. Yeah, the school play is coming up for the high school Clue, which is on Friday, November 19th at 6:30. And then on Saturday, November 20th at 2 and 6:30. So there's a matinee, then a 6:30. So if you're looking for something to do, please go and support our students for that. Finally, we partnered with CIESC for a video, where I'm going to leave you with that for the night on my side of this, about Speedway High School and the National Blue Ribbon Award. So here's about a 2.5, 3-minute video. Speedway High School was recently recognized by the United States Department of Education as a Blue Ribbon School. SHS was the only public neighborhood high school in Indiana to be so recognized and was one of only 2 high schools and 8 schools at any level in the state to be so honored by the U.S. Department of Education. Please understand, such recognition is not new to our school corporation, as Speedway Junior High School previously earned the recognition.
The National Blue Ribbon recognition is obviously a very esteemed award. I think what makes it special for the high school is that ours is actually based on academic achievement, not just academic growth.
I really do think it's strong recognition for the work that our staff and our students have put in, the teamwork and the relationships, all of the things they've accomplished together.
I think that being recognized by national organizations really puts a real big stamp on your school district, the type of kids you got, the type of parents that are involved, and also your educators here. I just feel so proud to be a part of a team that is being nationally recognized for their performance, competency, and love for the kids.
That just shows how good of a school Speedway is, and like how much we value everything, basically. Like, even though we're tiny, we're mighty, if that makes sense.
Speedway High School's award-winning advanced placement program has been identified as one of the highest achieving programs in the nation. Speedway High School has also been recognized for its college prep program for students in the J. Matthews Challenge Index and by the College Board. In addition, Speedway High School ranks in the top 4% of all high schools in the nation as determined by U.S. News and World Report and their 2020 edition highlighting the best U.S. high schools.
We have an amazing staff of teachers that's extremely hardworking and dedicated to really trying to reach all of our students and all of the different levels of learning. Our whole staff works very hard to do a really good job.
You can ask them anything like personal questions or question about homework, tests, anything, they'll be right there for you and they will give you the answer that you need.
They go all out and to make sure that students are comfortable learning in the class and to make sure that students are actually learning the material in the best way possible.
I looked up to my teachers so much, and I think it just made me want to be like them, and they influenced me to, want to make an impact on kids' lives as much as they made an impact on mine.
Of course, our elementary schools are the building blocks of success at our secondary schools. At each building, we strive to create an educational environment of high rigor and support necessary to ensure that all students successfully achieve our ever-increasing expectations. The school community works diligently to ensure all students, regardless of socioeconomic level, primary language, or individual needs, will have and utilize the opportunity provided for advanced academic success.
Anytime we need anything, the community is ready to step up and help individual students and our school. We appreciate that, and we really need that to continue the path that we're on.
It's just fun to walk down Main Street or just take a walk in the neighborhood
And as I go, I'm just like, hi, and I get to see parents of former students and get to check in on people. And there's just that name and face recognition that just makes you feel very welcomed here.
It's very easy to learn to know everybody. We have a very diverse community where everybody can learn a lot from everybody, and it's a wonderful place to be.
The student ratio is awesome. The kind of the community involvement was it. There's no school buses here. Kids walk to school. Social aspect of it. The academics. They are very awesome schools from elementary to high school.
Small school, individual attention from teachers. You couldn't ask for a better place to be educated. It's just really a real good living laboratory for education.
These accolades are possible because of the hard work and perseverance of our students, the dedication of our faculty and staff, and with support of their families and the Speedway community. To schedule a time to visit any of our neighborhood schools, please visit our website, speedwayschools.net.
Very nice.
And on that note,
Very nice.
is there any other further business? Then we will end our meeting to sign claims. Thank you all very much.